Hello, guys. So, just recently, Rico Miller, the owner of Dead Rails, has just announced what happened and what can happen in the future update. So first, let's hear what Rico has to say before I give you guys what it meant and what my opinions are about this matter. Hey everyone, we've decided to move away from the strict 2 weeks update schedule. Updates will still be coming regularly, just on a more flexible timeline. If you've been around the server for a while, you've probably noticed the only consistent thing about our updates is that they usually drop at the same time. Sticking to a rigid schedule has become a lose-lose for both us and you. It puts unnecessary pressure on the team and often leads to rushed, buggy, or unbalanced updates. This shift will let us release updates when they are actually ready and not forced out due to arbitrary deadlines. I also would like to apologize if recently the updates have been less quality than the previous ones. The truth is, it's reached a point where I've had to shift from being the main developer to more of a manager for the game, and allowing more talented scripters to handle the actual code. That shift has definitely come with some growing pains. I used to be involved in every little detail, but now I'm learning how to guide the team instead of doing everything myself. We're still figuring out how to keep that same level of polish and vision while working as a bigger team, and I know it has not been perfect. So all I ask is to have some patience. We're not some large studio that already has everything figured out, but we're working on it. So now let's talk about the change in update schedule. They are now dropping the 2-week update schedule because the rigid schedule or 2-week schedule was leading to stress on the team and rushed, lower quality updates. So if you guys might have noticed, this past 2 updates is not that great. It's more of like a patch or fixed bug update, which is more of an unnecessary update. So we can now expect updates to come regularly, but only when they're ready, not just to meet a deadline. This statement is somehow both concerning and good. It is concerning because we will not know when the update is coming out, and it might either be 1 week short or 2 weeks longer, and this causes problems on the update schedule. It is good because every time an update releases, the game will become less buggy and more balanced when it comes to gameplay mechanics. Now, the only solution I can see here is to get more game tester. So, if you are a tester and grow a garden like me, you will see that there's a lot of game testers, and this makes the game good and bad at the same time. But it's more of a good cause because more bugs or glitches will be found and will be fixed every time an update comes out. That also makes Grow a Garden somewhat of a good game. But again, I'm not comparing both games. I'm just saying that there should be more game testers on the game to find more glitch and bugs. Now let's talk about the polls that also addresses the game issue. So there's a poll that says, what is the biggest issue with Dead Rails currently? And most players voted not enough replayability. And that says something about the game, because if you have been playing game for a long time now, you will see that the game doesn't offer enough reasons or opportunities for players to enjoy it multiple times after completing the main content. That's why some players call it a repetitive gameplay. So now that we are done with that analysis, let's now talk about some game suggestion that you guys submitted. So first we have the news offices, and this suggestion is submitted by Molly Doc. This structure appears at 40 kilometers to 50 kilometers, has a lot of paper, newspapers, and telegraphs. Why add this structure? Dead Rails needs more lore, so add a news office for that. Molly, this is also a good suggestion. because the story is what makes the game good, and not just some graphics quality. Currently, we do not have a second floor houses, and I think this makes a good add to the game. Next, we have the mayor's house, and again, was submitted by Molly Doc. The mayor's house appears in medium and big towns, like a normal house. In the mayor's office, there is a small safe can be opened with safe key. The loot is 2 to 4 gold ingots and 2 to 5 bonds. The basement can be opened with a key found inside the house. Basement loot are things like boxes, barrels, and guns. Mayor zombie spawns inside the mayor's house. When gets killed, it will drop a safe key. This concept is also plausible, since it really gives a 1900s vibe with all these mayor and stuff. Next, we have a new POI, or point of interest. Factory. An abandoned building with multiple cool things, lots of enemies and loot. A new enemy. Crawling. This factory used to contain liquids, gases, and solids that had radioactive value that mutated the normal zombie and made it to crawl. This giant building will have a total of 13 bonds along with lots of gold, silver, and statues. This concept is also quite good and interesting to see, like a radioactive material. This can also add more lore in the game, like how did the Sterling became abandoned and stuff. Last one is the American native town. This town appears at 50 kilometers to 60 kilometers. This structure has 9 houses, 4 new weapons, and 2 new special items. The loots that you can find are bone daggers that has small range melee weapon, useful in fast attacks. Bow, a long range distance weapon, same thing like crossbow. Spears, long range melee and distance weapons, can be thrown at an enemy to deal more damage. Makua Whittle, a medium range melee weapon, fully charged, deals a lot of damage, and can keep the enemies bleeding, dealing more damage. Jade Necklace, equipable, when you die, it throws a light bolt and revives you. Only one use, useful in solo games. The enemies that can be found here are Spear. Native zombie has a spear and spawns outside the town. Bow native zombie has a bow, spawns inside town. One native leader zombie has a makwahuit. Now, I know this concept sounds like far from the actual event that has taken place in the 1900s, but it is actually true that the 18-99 Native American exists, and this concept is a good one and should be considered. One thing I like about this is the bow, and this might be better than crossbow. I also like the jade necklace, and this adds more lore on the jade mask in the jade mask chamber on Sterling. Now, that's all I can say for this, and subscribe for more Dead Rails update.